Hey, baby, we're gonna be here all day.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is.
This is Spittin' Facts with Zack.
I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team.
To all the non-believers. To all the non-believers.
The sports podcast about the important issues in New York and national sports.
We are not a charity. We cannot give them the game.
And still.
No hot takes, just facts.
So get your facts straight.
Now, here's Zack.
Can't wait.
This is Zack back with the second edition of the Spittin' Facts with Zack podcast. That is the name of the podcast for now because I'm now joined by my sidekick, Kyle.
What's
How
up,
you doing,
everyone?
Kyle?
Hey guys. How's everyone doing today?
This live audience, how's our live audience doing?
All 6 people
Yeah.
listening to this.
If there were 6 people listening, I'd be extremely happy. I would be pumped. How you doing, Kyle? How's your day in this cold day in the Northeast?
It's pretty good.
First of all, I'm a Cowboys fan. What football team are you a fan of?
Yeah, so it turns out Zach's a Cowboys fan, and I am a huge Eagles fan.
It's a shame how stuff like that works
out. Rings? Kind of won a Super Bowl a couple years ago, in case you forgot.
I don't remember. I don't have a good memory. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'm a big Eagles fan. Zach's a Cowboys fan, so we'll be talking a little bit about the upcoming Eagles-Cowboys game for the pitiful NFC East division crown.
Yep, it's 'cause someone actually has to win that division. Just to get it out of the way as well, Kyle, I'm a Mets fan, as I discussed last week, and I think you were a Boston Red Sox fan.
Yeah,
right?
So we have weird fandoms.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Like, we're both from New York area, and we don't really root for New York teams, except Zach's a Mets fan. But I do like the Red Sox.
But we can both agree that the Boston Celtics are sick.
Yeah, the Celtics are sick. Go Ticks. Yeah,
Yep.
And go Sox. I got the New England through and through, except the Pats, and I don't really care about hockey.
Yeah, I established
Sorry,
that
guys.
last week that I'm not going to be caring about hockey very much.
This is not going to be a hockey thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Because we're in the New York area and it's obviously a huge topic of conversation, last Sunday may have been Eli Manning's last game as a New York Giant. He threw for 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. One of them was kind of a garbage time interception, but they won the game, and Pat Shurmur gave him the ability to have his kind of moment where he's walking off the field, and they took a timeout, and he got the standing ovation. Definitely well-deserved, I would think, for him. I think obviously the big topic of conversation is like Eli Manning's Hall of Fame. Or what exactly is his resume? Is he a Hall of Famer? Like, is he first ballot? First of all, I'll preface by saying I don't understand really the concept of first ballot versus not first ballot. Like, I think either you're a Hall of Famer or like you're not a Hall of Famer. Like, are you less of a Hall of Famer because like they didn't vote on you like the first year or the second year? I don't know. Just a side topic. But I think he's clearly a Hall of Famer. He's compiled the numbers to be 6th on passing touchdowns, I think about 7th on passing yards. Combine that with the 2 Super Bowl rings and championships, and also the Iron Man streak with the consecutive games started. To me, I don't understand how he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
so Eli Manning, the Eagles fan in me, just got to preface by saying I don't like Eli Manning, although we, meaning my team, the Eagles, have torched the Giants numerous times in my lifetime, specifically this decade. Eli's definitely a Hall of Famer. You know, he's class personified. He's getting in the Hall of Fame. The reason Eli's getting in the Hall of Fame, he's got Hall of Fame moments. You know, the 2 Super Bowls MVPs. He's getting in because of that. And
well, he's also compiled the numbers to be like have some of the highest numbers in the history of the game. In addition to the 2 runs, like I don't know how that. Like you were saying to one of our friends last night that he's clearly a Hall of Famer. But, like, that also doesn't mean that he's a GOAT. He's, like, one of the greatest of all time.
No.
At the same time. But he's a Hall of Famer.
You're not going to put him, you know, in our lifetime, you're not going to put him with his brother or Brady or Rodgers or Brees.
Those are the top echelon guys.
Yeah, you know, you never, like, to me, a Hall of Fame guy is, like, the guy who you're paying to go see. You know, you're spending the money to go see that guy.
That's actually such a good point. Like, you paid to see him in the playoffs, but were you ever like, yo, I'm going to go see Eli Manning just make like spectacular plays?
You know what I mean? Like, you just like, it's like week 14, you know, Giants, Redskins. All right, you're going to see like Giants, like Eli make a sick play? Like, I don't know, maybe, but probably not.
He's probably going to throw 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, about like 275, and they'll win the game. Like,
Yeah, he'll have some stupid fourth quarter drive to just like win the game, but like it'll be like 28-20, and Eli will just kind of get it done. But he's definitely a Hall of Fame lock.
Yeah.
You know, the dude is class personified.
The main thing we can agree on is like he got the just due that he deserved, because going into the season, I don't know exactly what the Giants were thinking. Like John Mara was basically saying like, oh, we'll have a successful year if Eli starts all the games because that means that we're doing well. But it's like, did you really think that this team was going to be good?
You know, I'm glad we brought up the Giants because, to be honest, the Giants have literally become the laughing stock of the NFL. I'm not sure if anyone's been watching the last 3 or 4 years, but what's been happening to the Giants is a complete abomination to their franchise in their history.
They have the worst record out of any team in the NFL over the last 3 seasons.
What they did with what McAdoo did and Shermer and how they got rid of Coughlin, everything there has been an utter shit show. There's no ownership is not accountable for anything.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I feel like the Mariners have been getting a pass, and like Steve Tisch as well.
It's sad because the Giants. You know, I'm an Eagles fan. Frankly, I don't really care about the Giants, and this stuff is great.
I think it's hilarious.
This is great.
It's hilarious.
This is the greatest stuff ever. Like this is
hilarious.
This is great. You know, I'm enjoying every second of it. But they're a disgrace. They're a disgrace.
I feel like they've lost the status of like, oh, we're like that iconic, pristine franchise where it's like
100%.
Like, remember the whole Josh Brown thing where he like was literally a perpetual abuser of his wife, and they were just like, they totally were not the
punter?
the kicker.
Yeah, the kicker.
Yeah,
the
and
kicker.
it's just like once that stuff comes out, why would you not just like cut him immediately? He's a freaking kicker.
I can't believe you mentioned that.
Yeah, like, and then also like how they wanted to get rid of like problem guys like OBJ and like wanted to get rid of problem guys like that, but like then they're like, oh yeah, we'll keep Janoris Jenkins because that guy's totally like a class act. Like, in addition to like the whole thing that he said this week, which is just incredibly tone deaf, and it makes sense they got rid of him. If anyone remembers 2 years ago when they were playing the Rams and he literally just like gave up on the field, so
right.
I don't understand like how they're prioritizing like talent. And even when the 1 year that they did make the playoffs, like that team was like not that hype at all. Like they kind of just rode that defense, and then what happened? They went to basically everything fell apart if you think about it. Once that boat trip to Miami happened with like Odell Beckham and the receivers, they get blown out in that playoff game, and they've been a complete abomination since. Like their record since then is, if I gonna quickly do math in my head, they've won 11 games since then. Like that's.
And how long ago was that?
That was the 2016 playoffs.
Jesus, yeah. So the Giants are disgusting.
Yeah, they've won 11 games since then. I guess just to wrap up, Eli Manning got what he deserved.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Got the standing ovation. I
fans got to see him play.
Yeah,
that's what matters.
So I almost hope he doesn't play again anymore, because like he kind of got like that perfect situation where he walked off in the front of the home fans. Like, do we really want him to go like play at Washington next week? Like that's not going to accomplish.
Here's
anything.
the question: Do other GMs really want to go out and pay Eli Manning to be their quarterback next year?
I think he's done. You think someone's going to sign him?
I don't know, man. To be determined. You never know. I think Eli just loves football too much.
He does, but he also recently said, "I'm not trying to be a backup or a coach."
Right.
Like, who's gonna want him to be their starting quarterback?
The Bengals.
Like the bridge, but he doesn't want to be the bridge guy, you know,
right.
like because like they're gonna get Joe Burrow. I think that's
God.
like almost guaranteed at this point.
Next week we gotta do some college football.
Yeah,
damn,
that's true.
Joe Burrow.
Because next week, what does December 25th mean to you, Kyle? Absolutely nothing. It's just another Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
it's just like, what is that? Was that Christmas thing that's going on next week?
Oh man, that holiday where everyone is doing something, but I'm eating Chinese food and watching a movie. Probably watch Star Wars for like the second time and hating myself.
Exactly. All right, so from one legendary quarterback to another legendary quarterback in their own way, on Monday Night Football, the Saints absolutely destroyed the Indianapolis Colts, beat them 34-7. Drew Brees passed Peyton Manning for the most touchdown passes all time. He finished with 541 touchdown passes right now, passing Peyton Manning, who had 539. Let's not forget Tom Brady's right on his tail at 538. But as of right now, he's the all-time touchdown pass leader, and did it in style. If you happen to remember last year, also on Monday night, he broke the record for career passing yards against the Redskins on like a really long touchdown throw. This year, he breaks the record for touchdown passes on Monday Night Football, and doesn't do it on a particular play that was special by any means, but did it by setting literally the greatest completion percentage in a game in NFL history. He's 29 of 30 with 4 touchdowns. That's unbelievable. And I know this is something that you can agree on. When he breaks the record in the first half.
Oh, my God.
And they literally like, nah, that's going to be offensive pass interference. Let's totally like erase this moment in history for an incredibly ticky-tack call that was just not a good call, and have Brees just like no longer be celebrating anymore. And then you have to go all the way through halftime and wait. It's just, that's like the epitome of the NFL.
Yeah,
right there.
initial thoughts on the game is the way Drew Brees handled that moment was class personified. But
Another class personified
the
guy.
NFL just literally dropped the ball in every form of the word. What an awful moment. Bad look for them. Just what a terrible call. Wasn't even PI. Like
Offensive PI in that situation. Like,
man, you look at the play and it's not even pass interference. So the refs are wrong there. And
even if it's close, it's just like,
way to suck the life out of the building.
literally.
Like, just ruin the mood.
And then when he actually broke the record, he was like, yeah, like we're like, because he already had like that initial celebration, like,
yeah,
come
it's
out
like,
of him.
what are you gonna do now? Like, you just celebrate it, you know, like, gotta do it again.
So I was thinking about this too. So like, you know, I'm like a crazy football like historian, and I can go like way back and shit like that.
You like facts?
Well, yeah, this is the show. So I think when you're ranking quarterbacks, it has to be, you can only rank them in the modern era. And I will define the modern era as this. You may not know this. So,
well, like, why don't you just rank quarterbacks by like decade? I think, or like generation. You kind of gotta like do.
True.
You gotta make you gotta draw an imaginary line.
So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So, for those who don't know, which is pretty much everyone except me and my dad, because my dad is always talking about this particular rule. 1978 is when the passing game became something that you could actually do consistently in the NFL for 2 reasons. In 1978, going into that season, prior to that, receivers could literally be pushed, held, and thrown all around the field, no matter how far you were down the field, at all times until the ball was thrown. So think of trying to run a route when you can literally just get leveled like 30 yards down the field as long as the ball isn't thrown.
Right.
So that's one thing. And then the same year, believe it or not, offensive linemen used to only be able to block using chicken wing style.
Right.
If you extended your arms out like you would think of normal blocking today, it was called holding. And not only was it a 10-yard penalty, it was a 15-yard penalty. So no one could block anyone coming in. You had no time to throw, and your receivers couldn't get downfield. So I think that was like the clear delineation in
the 78 rule changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people would
and you
argue
get
that.
like modern era of passing.
Okay.
So like when
you're saying that's the modern era.
yeah.
Of
So
passing.
like
Okay.
Johnny Unitas, like Otto Graham,
Bart
Roger
Starr.
Staubach, Bart Starr,
They don't
Terry
count.
Bradshaw. It's like a
Tarkenton?
different era. Tarkenton's last season was 78.
Oh yeah, they don't count.
Yeah, so they don't count.
Okay.
So with that being said, give me your 5 quarterbacks. If you
My
have
5.
them. If you have them.
Well,
Is Brees in your top 5?
Let's-
That's the
let's
question.
figure
Is
it out.
Brees in your
Okay.
top 5?
Brady's number 1.
Thank you. Yep.
Let's not.
Let's not be crazy here.
Like, come on, guys.
Don't give me that system quarterback stuff.
Yeah, right. I don't want to hear that. He's a product of Belichick.
Yeah.
No, you can say that with anyone. That's just like why it's so frustrating. What a terrible argument. So yeah, Brady's number 1 all time. That's a tough one. You know, my dad would say Montana, and
He's my number 2.
yeah, you got to put Montana in there because I never saw him play, but you obviously know the legacy and impact he left on the game, and the stats show. And
Yeah, and
it's really undefeated in the Super Bowl. I think that's the underrated stat.
I think, as we can get into it here, I think that's the overrated stat.
You think that's the overrated?
I think
stat?
that's the totally overrated
Really?
stat. Because I love how people are like, oh, he's like undefeated in the Super Bowl.
That's
But
big.
it's like, well, Brady has Super Bowl losses, but it's like,
he has more appearances,
he's-
sure.
Yeah, but it's
But he
just
didn't
like,
lose.
But do you get benefited because you lost 49-3 to the Giants before you got to the Super Bowl?
No, like-
what? Just because you're perfect in the Super Bowl doesn't mean that you didn't have brutal losses in the NFC playoffs.
Look, like once you win a Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl appearances then become meaningful, if that makes sense, right? Like coming from an Eagles fan, like if you make the Super Bowl before actually winning it, it doesn't really matter.
Wilbert Montgomery.
Nobody cares. Oh man, Wilbert. There goes Wilbert Montgomery down the side. But classic. And like 04, good year. But yeah, making the Super Bowl doesn't really matter unless you win it. But once you win it once, appearances are cool. You know, that's why Tom's number 1. He's like, what? He's been there 9 times, right?
9.
That's disgusting.
Times. But also,
that's
my
so
favorite one,
gross.
he's been the starting quarterback, not including this season, 2008 or 2000.
Like, what did we just hear? Like, he just Tom Brady beat the St. Louis and LA Rams in the Super Bowl. Like, what's
in
some
2
crazy
different
stat?
decades. Yeah,
In 2 different decades.
Yeah, he beat the St. Louis Rams and the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl.
What is that?
But I'll quickly go through. So he's been the starting quarterback since 2001. The only years in which he did not make the AFC Championship game were 2002, 2005, 2009, and 2010. Those are the only years since he's been a starter that he did not at least reach the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, so hold on. Back to the list. You know,
Yeah.
Brady 1. Man, this is a long list. We're taking forever on this. Montana 2.
So you got Brady 1, Montana 2.
Would be
my list.
Like,
Where do you put Peyton Manning in this discussion?
where do we put Peyton Manning in this discussion? Okay.
Because I think,
Do you put him at 3? Because like
personally,
because modern era, this is brutal. Like, there's so many guys. Like, where's Marino?
where's Maria? I think was he
Where-
3? Is he
where-
4?
What do we value here? Where's Aikman? Where's your boy?
Okay, so Aikman is interesting. So
He's an interesting guy.
if you look up the stats for Troy Aikman, they're not that impressive. He never threw for over 4,000 yards in the season, and he also had Emmitt Smith, the league's all-time leading rusher, to hand the ball off to. And then towards the tail end of his career, free agency and everything, lost a lot of the talent. So the thing with Aikman is, John Madden used to say he's the most accurate passer of all time, most accurate passer he's ever seen,
Okay.
and like just threw absolute darts. But like if you swapped, let's say you swapped Marino and Aikman, like they probably have like very similar careers.
Right.
Like I feel like Marino would have won like 3 Super Bowls ish.
You know.
And like I don't like Aikman's.
See, what's making this so hard for me is like you're doing this from 78 on. You know, I gotta like.
What were you thinking?
I gotta do the gap like almost.
You want to keep it even closer or more recent?
You gotta make it. Like we're doing, I can't even do a 5 quarterbacks of all time because you almost have to break it down to 5 quarterbacks for each decade or something like some soft. Because you know you got.
Well, here some people talk about the expansion era, which is basically our lifetime. So that's 95 on when you got the Panthers and Jaguars came in the league.
I think that would be a good intermediate way to do it. So you can do 78 to 95, and then 95 to now.
So all right, so let's go 95 to now.
Yeah. Okay. Because that makes it so much easier. Because
if you go 95 to okay.
Okay. If we go 95 to now, because like what, Steve Young is in there now.
Well, no. He's right in the. No,
right in the middle.
His,
This is getting weird.
his MVP seasons were 92 and 94, and he won the Super Bowl in 94. So he's like that's like the tail end.
Yeah. Okay.
Of his thing. If you're gonna do that, it's got to be
our lifetime. That makes it so
that's
much
what the
easier.
expansion area is. 95.
Just our lifetime. Okay. Yeah, our lifetime.
Brees,
you know,
Brady, Marino, Favre, Rodgers. That's 5 right there.
Brady. Okay, Brady.
Brees, Manning,
Brady.
Favre,
Okay.
Rodgers.
Okay, I don't know. No particular order. We got Brady.
Yeah, that was no
Manning,
particular order.
Brady, Manning, Brees, Rodgers.
And Favre's got to be there.
Let me think. You know, Favre's a gunslinger, bro.
You're right.
Man, I just like, you know, inside I just want to say Mike Vick, even though I know he's not on
Kyle.
there.
Kyle, let's relax here.
You think he Mike Vick?
You think he Michael Vick?
Lamar Jackson thinks he's Mike Vick. Oh,
Yeah, he does actually.
man, Lamar Jackson's a beast.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. I guess just kind of
I don't
wrap this
know.
up. Like I feel like that's an easy 5, honestly. Like who else would you
Favre?
put in there? You're not gonna put Eli. Like
No.
like Roethlisberger's not better than Favre, and Phil Rivers is not better than Favre.
Yeah, you know, I like that. That's good.
And like I don't know if I'm just blanking on someone else. Like
No, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think we are. That's got to be it.
all right.
Yeah.
So I really just say that Brees, regardless of where you put him, is one of the greatest of all time. And the thing about Brees is like his legacy is nowhere near done. Like he's not a passenger by any means. Like where Peyton Manning was god awful in 2015, 9 touchdowns to 17 picks, and the defense carried him to the Super Bowl. Like the Saints are my pick to come out of the NFC, honestly. So if Brees gets another ring this year, like think about that, where that puts his legacy, and we'd have a totally new conversation.
Yeah, I would say that the discrepancy in legacy from 1 to 2 Super Bowls is huge. You know, look at Eli, for example. I think he's the textbook example.
Mm-hmm.
How 2 Super Bowls just makes you a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And that guy, even though Brees probably would be a Hall of Famer without Super Bowls, you know, he would definitely have the classic Dan Marino conundrum if he didn't win a ring, but he did, so it's fine. But Brees is a stud. He's a savage. I like him.
Yep.
Top 3.
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Yeah. We definitely agree that he's up there.
Cool.
So last night the Pro Bowl rosters got announced.
Oh, these were neat.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go through every single thing, but maybe just kind of highlight some of the.
I haven't seen him yet.
You haven't seen him yet?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
At all?
No.
Okay. So maybe we'll do a little. You see the quarterbacks at least?
Yeah, I did see the quarterbacks. Definitely Year of the Black Quarterback. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely into it.
And then also, like I was saying on the way here, so the NFC is all like those veteran guys.
Right.
Where it's Russell Wilson. Speaking of, like, he's creeping his way into that category that we just talked about in terms of greatest quarterbacks. Like, pretty underrated, pretty creeping. I said he's creeping. He's not there, but he's creeping.
Man, I do love me some Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I love him. So yeah, you got the veterans. So it's Rodgers, Brees, and Wilson.
Yeah, we just did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in the AFC it was Mahomes, Jackson, and Watson, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. So did you see any of the running backs?
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on Brady not getting in?
He doesn't deserve it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I'm the
fine.
biggest Brady fan, Brady apologist.
Yeah, I like Brady, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously doesn't deserve to be a
all
Pro
right,
Bowler
that's
this
fine.
year. But the funny thing is A, if they make the Super Bowl, it wouldn't matter anyway. And B, if they don't make the Super Bowl, he's going to be in the Pro Bowl
Maybe,
because
so
he's
true.
going to be a sub.
Yeah.
So that's why the Pro Bowl doesn't even really matter.
Dude, the Pro Bowl is a joke forever.
Pro Bowl's a complete joke. The only thing that matters is whether or not you were voted first team. Oh yeah, all pro selections.
Yeah, all pros.
That's actually what matters. Because like if you look at this, my Cowboys fandom will come out a little bit here, but for the interior linebackers, inside linebackers, is
who do we
Luke
got?
Kuechly like I feel like is he a Pro Bowler this year?
No, just it's
Like,
classic.
it's just like,
classic
oh, Luke
name.
Kuechly, I'm gonna
Yeah, he's
vote
got
for
a
Luke
name.
Kuechly.
He's Luke Kuechly, and that's why
Yeah.
he got a Pro Bowl.
Exactly.
Have I heard Luke Kuechly's name once on like ESPN this year? No.
Like I feel like
No.
I'd have to dive deeper into the stats, but
That happens every year. You know.
that's why the Pro Bowl's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
it's just
fans are
like
voting him
think
in.
about this: the fans literally vote for Pro Bowl long snapper. Like is that
Yeah,
is that remotely irrelevant?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know the Eagles long snapper. So.
Yeah.
Just-
why would you?
Don't even know the
the
guy on my
only
team.
reason you would is unless he makes like an egregious error in a playoff game.
No, but like we all know John Dorenbos. He's the man. I'm sure most of you guys who are listening right now saw his magic trick on Monday Night Football against the Giants that rattled Randy Moss. That was
What are
pretty
you
cool.
talking about right now?
Dude, John Dorenbos, do you know who John Dorenbos is?
I don't.
So like, he's the Eagles long snapper. Who like he was the Eagles.
Eagles.
long-
He was.
Okay, so he was the Eagles long snapper, and his last year was the year before we won the Super Bowl.
Oh, what a shame.
Right. No. Do you want to know why it's a shame?
Okay.
So like we had to cut him because he failed. We traded him to the Saints, and he failed a physical because it was found out that he had like a heart problem, like a serious medical condition.
Okay.
So he had to retire from football completely, and it was found out because of this trade that we did. So like if he like wasn't traded, he could have died because they might not have never found out that he had this medical condition.
Dude, that's just like Jeff Green. Like
And-
when Jeff Green
right.
got traded.
And
They
John
forget-
Dorenbos also has the most like fucked childhood ever, where his dad murdered his mom, and him and
looking
his
up his wiki page
him and his
right now.
sister, him and his sister just went in and out of foster care. So like, he was the Eagles long snapper, and he's an absolute savage. He's such a great guy. Everyone in Philly loves him, and he was on Monday Night Football when the Eagles were playing the Giants.
And-
He did a magic trick, and Randy Moss was freaking out.
Oh, that's the guy.
yeah, he put the
No,
card
didn't
inside the football.
didn't he go on America's Got Talent? That's the guy.
Oh, he might have. Yeah,
That's totally the guy.
Yeah, John Dorenbos. He's a magician. He does that.
Now I know who you're talking about. Okay.
He's it's such an interesting character. Like, very cool dude.
That is really interesting.
And,
I
like-
didn't know because I remember seeing him like he was on America's Got Talent and he was killing it. Like that's when I was into like my magic phase, like
Oh
and like my
God.
David
Your
Blaine
Magic
stuff.
the Gathering phase.
Yeah. Once again, like I forget what that is.
That's the card game.
That's like a card game. Okay.
Dude, do you watch South Park?
Oh,
Magic the Gathering.
Oh my god,
I
I'm
feel like you
thinking
feel
like
like such
real.
an idiot
Oh, I feel
right
like
now.
such an idiot. It's incredibly
Yeah, do cock
embarrassing. It's
magic?
incredibly
Like, come on.
embarrassing.
Zach, in case you guys don't know, Zach and I, we've been watching South Park since like 4th, 5th grade. So it's
Yeah.
like 04, 05.
So that was incredibly pathetic. That
Definitely over 10, 15 years.
I had like actual card games in my head right there.
Amazing. Okay, so
Just quickly back to the.
the Pro Bowl.
So I know you hate George Kittle because
Oh my God, fuck
but
George
it's,
Kittle.
But it's George Kittle and Zach Ertz. So you can be happy.
Yeah, but Pro Bowl still doesn't
Dude,
even matter.
Kittle's
It's just-
killing it.
Kittle is killing it. Did you see the video of him just like egregiously
Yeah.
dying? Yeah.
He was just laughing the whole time.
That was pretty funny. It's like, was he laughing? To be honest, I looked at the video and it looked like he was having like a panic attack. It's like, why is his mouth so wide open? You know, like he's just like, what's going on?
Yeah. You know, as I continue to go through this Pro Bowl roster, fuck the Pro Bowl. I don't really give a shit about the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I
I think the last time I gave a shit about the Pro Bowl, Devin Hester was playing in it.
I used to care about the Pro Bowl. I'll tell you that I stopped caring about the Pro Bowl when they moved the Pro Bowl to before the Super Bowl. Because it used to be
Makes
awesome
sense.
when like it was after the Super Bowl, and for the most part, everyone would play, and people were still like trying hard.
Right.
It's crazy if you go back in the day, like the Pro Bowl actually mattered because people aggressively wanted to win for like salary.
Dude, do you remember like Sean Taylor just lit
Oh,
whoever
the punter.
up?
He was they ran a fake
Oh
punt.
my God.
They ran a fake punt, and
Good Lord.
yeah. But the awesome part about that is the
Sean Taylor is an animal.
yeah, the guy who hit him was like super pumped about it, or the guy
Oh,
who
the
got
punter?
the
The
guy
guy
who
got
got
hit,
hit
yeah.
was like he was super pumped. He was like, I shouldn't have tried to run the fake punt in that situation. Oh, Brian Moorman was the
Oh my
punter.
God.
But he was just like, yeah, that was hype. Like I just got let up by Sean Taylor.
Incredible.
Yeah,
It's like, what else on the Pro Bowl?
I'm done.
Let's talk about the black quarterbacks.
yeah.
I'm really into that, you know?
Well, it's interesting too. Like back in 2012, 2013, you had the era of the running quarterback.
Right.
Whereas like Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick.
I feel like now, if you're not a dual threat dynamic quarterback, you almost can't be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but like the point I was trying to make.
I almost feel like being the prototypical pocket passer is now almost becoming a thing of its past. The Brady's,
Yeah.
the Brees.
But the thing is like the running quarterback was a thing for like 2011, 2012, 2013, and then it like went away.
Yeah.
It went away, and
Well,
I feel like
Cam was there. Cam was always involved. And
but-
Kaepernick.
but Kaepernick went away for we're not going to get into that like whole debate.
Right.
Like he went away, and like Cam Newton didn't run as much because of like
Man, Kaepernick
getting-
had strides like a gazelle, man.
He did.
You watch those, like, look at his legs when you watch
watch
tape.
watch the
He
divisional
is
playoff game
booking
against
it.
the divisional playoff game against the Packers is the one that everyone remembers. So now you got three guys where I mean obviously Jackson is literally leading the team in rushing. He's the first person. This is so obvious when you really think about it, but it's the first player ever to have 30 touchdown passes and 1,000 yards rushing, which obviously
I think that's the direction football's moving
Yeah.
in. I think teams look at the Browns. They took Baker Mayfield over Josh Allen and Darnold and
Yeah.
Rosen and all those guys.
Rosen-
They took
Rosen's
the
a
guy.
box.
You know, I get that everyone passed up on Lamar Jackson, and that's probably because everyone in the NFL is a racist and didn't think he was going to be good.
Well, he has to be a receiver because he was a black quarterback, so he has to be a receiver.
It's honestly disgraceful that that's even a mentality.
Yeah.
But like, you know, look at the Browns. They took Baker Mayfield because they thought he was an athlete who can be a dual threat guy. I think that's where the league is trending. Look at Deshaun Watson.
We're not even 2 years in. Do you think the Browns are regretting the Mayfield decision?
No,
No, not yet.
no. I
It's
think
too
the Browns
early.
are fine.
It's too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely too early.
Browns
Don't-
are fine.
Yeah.
But like even Wentz, look at Wentz. I think Wentz is a mobile guy, and Dak. They're
I don't know about Wentz. man.
Wentz not so much because of the knee injury, and even as an Eagles fan, I don't want to see him running anymore. But before that injury, the guy was mobile. He was a wizard in the pocket before that injury. He can get out.
Well,
of some stuff.
I'm a firm believer that he should have won the MVP in 2017, regardless of the fact that he got injured.
Right, that's
the
a
time
joke.
he got injured, he already wrapped up the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's a joke. You know, like if he got hurt the first 2 games of the year and had those numbers and played the rest of the season rather than the beginning of the year and not the last 2 games of the season, he would have been MVP. So, but it's fine. 'Cause
That's where the recency bias in sports comes into play.
it's okay because we got a ring. Good year.
Is there anything else you want to talk about that? Because I did want to briefly get into the Pats cheating thing.
Yeah, we can talk
Just
about
an
that.
excuse to play this audio because it could not be funnier. If we all know like the Pats have the history of cheating, but if you were to say like, let's come up with like a hilarious idea, the Pats have another cheating scandal, it would probably be like the actual situation that happened, where the guy that's filming it is wearing Patriots attire.
Bruin sweatshirt.
I heard, wasn't it a Patriots logo shirt?
I heard Bruins sweatshirt. Regardless, Boston
Regardless,
affiliated sports
idiot.
team.
Regardless,
Boston affiliated
idiot.
sports team. That's what's going on.
And
here.
like the radio show I listen to every day, the Michael K show, in which I went to.
Man,
there.
I don't like the Michael K show. I guess it's the Red Sox
I'm
fan in
having
me.
you on my show, and you're gonna say that. I went to the holiday show on Friday.
Peter Rosenberg is okay because of that one Duke sucks video. If you ever saw that back in the day, that's
Dude,
like before the internet became the
Erica was
internet.
chatting it up with Peter Rosenberg the other day.
I like that. That's a good video.
Michael K is literally the man, and you can't have an opinion on that if you don't
He's
listen
okay.
to the show.
No,
He's the man.
I do listen to the show. I live
He's
with
the man.
Larry,
He's the
but
man.
he's okay. But
Okay, no. So if you were to think of like a hilarious situation, it would be
cheating.
it would be a guy wearing basically Boston attire, and the guy Peter on the Michael K show is saying, if you really that badly wanted to have someone film the game, instead of doing it from the press box, you could literally have someone like in the stands with an iPhone. getting that same shot.
Right.
Like, it's not like that shot was anything like out of the ordinary, but what made it amazing was the fact of the unbelievably stereotypical Boston accent that the guy has. It's too funny. So if you haven't heard it yet, I'm just gonna play it now because frankly, it's absolutely hilarious. Basically, what's happening in the video is that the camera pans towards the Bengals sideline where they're supposed to be allegedly taking a video of like a scout for a documentary, and it's literally just a still frame of the Bengals sideline, and it's hilarious.
And this is a piece you're filming on your advanced scout?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Like the Bengals guys not having it.
I don't see the advanced scout in this footage.
No, it's not. We were trying to get some field perspective. Is my bad.
What the fuck is field perspective?
Why you would think you could take that? I didn't know.
The Bengals sideline, that's what's field perspective.
But I can delete this right here for you.
Damage is done, my friend.
No, it isn't, because we deleted
The
it.
fact that you're wanting to delete it.
You know, this guy's probably shitting himself right now. You think Bill Belichick has like a cyanide pill, like chip in his neck that he can just kind of like push a button and this guy just drops dead? You know what I mean? like that'd be great. Like, just like shut up, no talking, just like get a heart attack.
Like Alan, I was listening to Alan Hahn yesterday too, and he said something hilarious where it's basically like this guy was probably like some guy that aggressively wanted to be a part of the Patriots organization, but the Patriots were just like, oh, this guy's annoying. Like, let's have him do some like random task that like we don't want to do. And then once he gets in trouble, we're like, oh, we don't know who that is. Like, who's that guy? Like, we don't even know his name. Like,
Incredible.
Not even affiliated with this guy. So my quick take on that is, my girlfriend would hate to hear this because she thinks I always have Brady's dick in my mouth.
You do have Brady's dick in your mouth.
A little bit, just a little bit, but it's fine. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Like some people, like Teddy Bruschi was freaking out about it. Like, I totally understand at this point making the argument that it is a big deal. Like, I can't argue that, but at the same time, like,
I think what you're saying is that you're sick and tired of hearing the Pats cheating, so you just don't really give a shit anymore.
yeah, like,
Yeah, I could see that.
The Deflategate thing, to think, like, I honestly forget what your opinion on this is, but like to think that that's a big deal is a joke to me.
I think we all remember, like, in our group of friends, how like we reacted to that news. Like, I don't think when we first initially heard Deflategate, no one even took it seriously. Like,
well, I remember our friend Andy was posted in our group chat that like that story was developing, and I was just like,
ha ha ha,
like, okay, that's whatever. It's like,
right?
But why is that like a really big deal?
Why is that a news? Like, why is that news?
Like, just to quickly the touch on Kaepernick thing. I remember when I was coming home from rugby practice in 2016, I got an ESPN notification on my phone. It was just like 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick kneels down during national anthem, and I was just like, okay.
So what?
Like, why did I just get a notification for that?
Yeah, you know,
like, I don't understand why that's news. And then it literally becomes like arguably the biggest sports story like ever.
Yeah, right. That's definitely one of the big sports stories of the decade. The fact that became a sports story in the first place is just so pitiful.
But just in general with like the Pats cheating thing, is Brady not the GOAT now? Like, because you have a video of like the Bengals sideline.
Loki, I don't think this changes anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's think about it. You know, the Patriots. If you didn't think the Patriots were cheating before this isn't going to make you think the Patriots are cheating now.
Yeah. And if you did think they were cheating before this is just more ammunition for you.
Right. Yeah. So whatever. You know, like the Pats got caught cheating. Who cares? Who like,
a lot of people.
But like,
that's the thing.
You know, let's think. Why would they care? Like, what makes them upset with the Pats cheating?
But it's not even the cheat.
Is it the principle?
But it's also just like, how much are they really cheating? Like, this specific video, like, how much an advantage are you really getting?
I think every team is cheating.
And
think of Bountygate.
Well,
think of the Saints. I think every team.
Here's the one that no one talks about, and I think is a way bigger deal than honestly anything that the Patriots did. Maybe not specifically like the first Spygate thing, but
that's pretty
way bigger than Deflategate by far. People don't know this, that the Falcons were pumping artificial crowd noise into their stadium. That's a ridiculously huge advantage, and like no one really talked about it because like it wasn't the Pats, and like they didn't even get penalized that much by the league.
Think about it. You got 8 games a year where you can make your team, your home venue, louder.
Yeah,
8 games
makes it so much harder for the opposing team
to do,
especially
everything.
In a dome where it's like totally
amplified.
amplified. Yeah.
You were gonna say magnified, so was I. Don't
Magnified,
worry.
amplified,
It's all the same thing.
energized.
Like, does anyone really know the difference between a watt and a volt and like an ohm? Just like they all do electrical
What's
stuff.
an ohm?
Ohms are
See, do you know the difference?
ohms are resistance, right?
I'm asking you, bro.
I think ohms measure electrical resistance. I'm not 100%, but
All I know is Watt plays for the Texans and the Steelers. And that's really all I know.
and volt plays for the Yankees. Luke Voigt. I was trying to be funny.
I was like, he's not Luke Volt, dude. That's amazing. You know, that's a great transition. As we've just talked about football for 40 minutes, we're in as the NFL season is winding down. That means that the winter meetings are heating up for baseball. And speaking of the Yankees, today, Gerrit Cole was introduced as a New York Yankee officially. After last week, he has signed the 9-year, $324 million deal to join the fully operational Death Star that is now, once again, the New York Yankees. As a Red Sox fan, I'm gonna guess what your thought is. I don't care because we won a ring 2 years ago.
Yes and no. I'm still on that high from winning it all 2 years ago. For those of you out there who have not seen any of your teams win a championship, it's by far the greatest feeling ever, and you kind of rock that for as long as possible. Gerrit Cole to the Yankees. First of all, fuck the Yankees. Who likes the Yankees besides Yankee fans?
Well, it's like Cowboys. It's like you either love the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys.
Man, just fuck everything about the Yankees. Gerrit Cole. You know, the kid gets to live out his dream as a New York Yankee. That's the only cool thing from the story.
Yeah. So like, if anyone hadn't heard that, he was at the 2001 World Series as an 11-year-old, caught on the game broadcast holding up a sign, "Yankees fan today, tomorrow, and forever." And to bring it all full circle, at his introductory press conference today, had the same sign. So I think that's kind of cool.
That's the one cool thing from the story today.
Yeah.
He's living out his childhood dream
Also,
of playing for the Yankees.
If I just gave you a headshot of Gerrit Cole today, would you have any idea that that's Gerrit Cole without his beard?
No, without his beard.
Yeah, looks like a completely different person.
Not at all.
So the big topic in like regular sports talk this week is: would you regret that deal?
The Gerrit Cole deal?
If you won 2 rings, and
one ring.
Like how many rings?
How many rings does it justify the deal?
Yeah,
1.
I agree.
1 ring. But Yankees fans would say 3.
That's so. Oh my God, that's so true. Where it's just like
3.
Yankee fans don't understand that you're just like
1 ring justifies the deal. Yankees fans
totally
would want
does.
3.
Yeah. Oh my God, if the Mets won a ring. Oh my God, if the Mets won a ring.
If the Mets won, they were close a few years ago.
Really, I didn't hear that. I forgot. I didn't hear about that.
You know what's funny? We talk about, man, we love baseball. We honestly should just turn this into a baseball show. But let's just quickly,
later in the year we will.
We definitely will. But like, let's just recap on like how sick the Nationals winning it.
Yeah,
so
because we haven't talked about that.
That's so sick.
Like, what
Nationals getting it done?
What I think me and Kyle definitely vibe on is the lack of analytical presence and what the Nationals were doing, and how they were like, oh wait, so Trey Turner, he's on first base and he's really fast. Maybe he'll steal second base, and then Adam Eaton, he's good at bunting. So like, why don't we have him bunt over Trey Turner to third base and like give up an out instead of trying to hit a home run in every play? And they were able to turn it into a World Series win against a team that's highly analytical and was probably cheating.
Man, the Nationals were so much fun to watch because they reminded me of the Red Sox the year before. You know,
because both of those teams like strayed away from like very strict analytics in the playoffs, because that's what you got to do.
Growing up, I'm 24 years old, so I was born in '95. So when I was playing Little League back in 2000, and throughout my whole life, baseball's a simple game. The fastest guy on your team bats first. The best guy for contact, you can just hit the ball and put it in play. Mm-hmm. Hits second. The guy who
that's what Eaton was for them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what Eaton was. Eaton was an animal. Eaton is just such a contact hitter.
He was Eaton.
Oh, he was Eaton.
Yeah.
Man, Adam Eaton's a dog.
Yeah, and then
your third guy is just power.
They had Rendon hitting third,
and your fourth guy,
because he could do it all. And then Soto was hitting bombs, hitting fourth.
Such a textbook lineup. It was so beautiful to see the baseball they played.
And then Zimmerman was hitting fifth a lot.
Zim.
Yeah, like good for him.
Good for him. But back to free agency. Rendon, Nationals on the Angels now.
Yeah. So the Angels will win 5 more games than they did last year.
The Angels will not make the playoffs.
It's no matter how good. Like I saw so I think it was like an MLB post. It was like, who are you gonna pitch to? And it was like Ohtani, Rendon, and Trout. It's like, I'm gonna pitch to all the 6 other guys in that lineup, score 5 runs a game at minimum off their horrible pitching staff. Like, you see these free agent pitchers out there. Madison Bumgarner got a 5-year, $85 million deal for the Diamondbacks. That's only $17 million a year. He was not happy about that. He's younger than Steven Strasburg. You're telling me the Angels couldn't have upped that to bring in Madison Bumgarner to be their ace? Like, you got Mike Trout. You're wasting his career. It doesn't make any sense.
I think all this news just makes you feel bad for Mike Trout because the Angels are still going to be garbage next year.
Yeah.
And his career is wasted.
Yeah.
As of now, it's wasted. He's played in 1 playoff series.
And they got swept.
I think he batted under 200 or close to it. So who cares? 212, something around there. So it's his career's a joke because he's never been in the playoffs. So it's just wasted, and
also no one knows about him too because he plays in out west. So like, not only does he not play in big games on television, he's not like, no one even stays up to watch him.
Right.
So but I think the only way that they could make noise is something that we haven't talked about. I talked about a little bit last week by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Is if the penalties for the Astros are like enormous because they're in that AL West, and like if the Astros like totally fall off the map, like could they compete with the Athletics for the division?
You know,
pretty much it, because the Mariners are not going to win, and I'm blanking on who the other team in
the Rangers.
And the Rangers, like they traded for Corey Kluber, but like, are they really a threat? I mean, they were in it for. They were in the wild card race for a little bit.
The Mariners finally get it done. The Mariners finally get the monkey off.
Will this be the year the Bengals finally get it done? Definitely not.
No, definitely not. But this might be the year the Mariners finally get it done and make the playoffs and get the monkey off the back. And it's funny.
It all depends on the Astros.
It's funny how for the Mariners getting it done means just making the playoffs. But
yeah. So if you didn't know, like the Mariners have the longest playoff drought among any team in all 4 professional sports. So they set the record for wins in a season and have not made it back to the playoffs since then.
You know, back to the Astros and their whole cheating fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
Punishment for the Astros. I think there's no actual punishment that makes sense.
Yeah,
like what you're
that's
saying.
That's exactly
there's
what
no
I'm.
punishment because other teams do this. Maybe not to the extent.
I don't think other teams do it electronically like this.
They might not do it electronically, but the Red Sox were sort of
the Apple Watch,
and right, and the Yankees too. There's been some,
but not like literally live electronics. That's what
is the electronic thing really what's getting you?
It's the fact that it's real-time electronics.
Every team is trying, I think, as hard as they can to steal signs at all times.
If you're stealing signs just normally,
where there's no electronic involved,
then I think it's incredibly lame when people are like complaining about
the fact
stealing
that
signs.
They went through the effort to set up that whole process to do it.
It makes you question how good their hitters are.
Yeah,
like if you watch the John Boy videos, it's concerningly loud how loud some of them are.
Yeah.
And then they go into the playoffs and it's too loud in their stadium in Minute Maid Park. So they had it sometimes where it was like, I might be vice versa on this, but if it's a breaking ball, the bullpen catcher had his arms on the fence, and if it was a fastball, he had his arms down.
Something like that.
Like, but you only are knowing that because you're getting and you got earbuds in, and you got people watching live camera feed.
Man,
like,
it is not a good look.
Like, I'm a Mets fan. I was watching a game from, it must have been the 2017 season. Yeah, it was 2017 season, obviously, because that's when we played the AL West. My boy Chris Flexen is on the mound. You literally just see our catcher, I forget who was catching, make the signs, and you hear 2 enormous bangs and then a massive home run. It's like God damn it.
Yeah, you know, this whole cheating thing is interesting. One thing it makes you think about is the legacy of all the guys. You know, is Altuve's a boss, but
his numbers on the road are actually even better than they were at home that year.
Like Bregman, Springer, Correa are all their potential Hall of Fame careers in jeopardy now because of this? What happens? What happens to these guys?
Well, what happens specifically with them? Like, are you going to punish individual players?
You can't do that. You can't punish you can't punish an individual player.
I agree,
unless there's like some absurd concrete evidence because they're all in on it, right? So
But here's the thing:
they're all in on it.
But also, you could be a member of the Astros and be like, I don't want to be in on this. But
no, you can't. You can't though. You're not.
But you're automatically a part of it. Like, even if you don't want to be.
Right. Even if you don't want to be, that's fair. But I don't think anyone there didn't want to be. I think
Because you're gonna be pissed about it when you're not playing for the Astros anymore.
This is like the classic Ash experiment where like everyone just gives into conformity. You know, you just follow the group. You know, the group might be wrong. You know, line number 2 might not be the longest line, but you're picking number 2 because everyone else picked number 2. You know
that experiment always bothered me so much.
I like the Ash experiment.
No, but it's just like pick the longer line. Like,
but everyone else is picking number 2, so you give in to peer pressure.
Crazy.
That's it. I think no one's gonna rat. Well, there was a rat, but no one on the team now. No one currently playing would. Yeah, right. But no one currently playing would. I think they're all down. You know, they want to win. They don't give a shit. Every team's cheating.
I've heard like ban them from the playoffs. Like you can't do that. That completely compromises the rest of the league.
You know,
like,
you can't ban them from the playoffs. I think. A fine isn't good enough.
I think that you can
draft picks isn't. Even
I think you can fine them, but like an ungodly amount,
like $100 million.
Yeah, like $100 million.
You gotta make it 60,
where the owner, like where any owner is just like gonna make sure that my team isn't doing this because even I can't afford to pay this fine.
I think that's the only way you do it.
And then you could
an ungodly amount of money.
And you could also like basically have them have no draft picks.
Yeah,
like for a couple years.
You hurt the farm system.
Yeah.
What's even a better way to hurt the farm system than take away draft picks?
Well, I've heard it thrown out. I don't necessarily agree with is they could have no transactions this year.
No trading?
Yeah, but I don't agree with that because that affects the entire marketplace.
That I don't like.
Yeah,
I
just think you could have no draft picks and a fine that's absolutely unheard of because you want to set the precedent that it's never going to happen again.
I think the ungodly fine. Now that we're talking about it, might be the move. It's got to be over $100 million.
Yeah. Because even like a Steve Ballmer is going to be like,
shit,
I'm not trying to pay $100 million right now.
Yeah, you know, he might be trying to pay like $1 million or $2 million here and there, like for
that's fine.
Like strippers and cocaine.
Hey,
but like,
yeah,
not
like
$100 million for strippers and cocaine.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. To wrap up the baseball, what are the Mets doing? Like, what even is in the Mets situation right now? Like, is Steve Cohen? What is Steve like? This news breaks about Steve Cohen like
buying the team,
coming in, but then there's a whole thing about if it's going to be in 5 years or like it'll be 5 years, but like when does his money start coming in?
So Steve Cohen,
because it sure as hell isn't this year.
Steve Cohen's already a minority owner of the team.
Yes.
So,
but he's not making majority decisions.
Right. So he's trying to get Wilpon's stake in the team, and that's going to be a really long, lengthy process. Which
5 years.
I would bet you that over that 5-year period, Wilpon will probably want to back out of the deal and keep the team and be the majority owner.
Kyle.
I guarantee you that will happen.
Kyle, don't.
I'm calling it on the show that
I thought you were going to say that Wilpon will be like, I just want to get out of here early. And
I think he's going to keep the team. I think he's going to have some terrible advice. He has terrible friends, and they're going to say, why the fuck are you selling the Mets? They're making you so much money.
I just heard that a lot of his family doesn't want to be a part of the team anymore.
You know, so then he hires people to run the team. That's what you do when you're the owner.
Kyle, come on. He can't stay. Like, DeGrom's being... Like, we signed Rick Porcello. I know you like Rick Porcello.
I do like Rick Porcello, and I'm going to call him Porcello because even though I know his name is Porcello.
Pisses me off when you say that.
He's a Porcello mushroom.
That's not even what that is either.
A Porcello mushroom?
Then if you're going to say Porcello mushroom, you have to call him Rick Portobello.
No, a Porcello and a Portobello is different.
Are those not the same thing?
I don't know. Maybe
those are different. I don't know.
Maybe I'm talking about my ass, you know?
He's on third. I don't know.
We're definitely not spitting facts with Kyle, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about this before we got in. Like, why does Brody Van Wagenen have to say literally anything? Comes out last week and says, well, yeah, I think we have the deepest rotation in baseball. It's like, why don't you just shut up and, like...
If I was the Mets, I would shut the fuck up. I would...
I
would shut the fuck up. First of all, I would make sure Carlos Beltran's in the clear with this whole Astros bullshit.
That's what
right?
that was the transition I was getting.
That's the biggest thing that they need to work.
To quickly go back, and we jump around a lot, because they were saying that, and this affects both of our teams, that
Cora and Beltran get fucked over.
Is that possible?
No. I don't think.
Like, can you suspend him now? He's at the manager of the Red Sox and Mets. That destroys us when we had no part of it.
I think even if Cora and Beltran are clearly linked to this thing, and
Beltran was a player,
and they clearly are linked to this thing. I think that because they're not on the team, I don't think it makes sense to punish the team that they are.
How Mets would that be? How Mets would that be?
It just wouldn't. It wouldn't be fair. I think. Man, I don't even know what would happen because you're not even gonna have like the players' union side with these guys. Like, because they're not players, but if you got the players' union on your side, you're winning because that's the strongest union in the world. You don't mess around with it.
That's what's really interesting about the players' union too when it comes to the cheating scandal, because if the punishments are harsh, you would think the players' union is going to not want the punishment to be harsh. But at the same time, the players' union are also representing all the other players that were negatively affected by the cheating. Like, think of the players that got sent down to the minors because they got absolutely rocked.
Right.
Like pitching and Houston. Like, it's such an interesting situation.
The whole butterfly effect that's involved because of the cheating.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think just to wrap up baseball and pretty much this podcast, the Yankees had their man. They weren't willing to spend money in the past at players that they weren't 100% committed to. They found someone they were committed to. They went all in to get him. I think they're clearly the team to beat. Although, like I said last week, if you don't stray away from the 100% analytics in the playoffs, I think that you're going to continue to see the same struggles offensively where everyone's just swinging for the fences 0-2 and your whole middle of the lineup can't even make contact. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, maybe we can do a show about baseball and just talk about our thoughts about the game because it's by far my favorite sport.
Yeah, and it's
to watch and to play. I do love football and basketball tremendously as well, but just baseball is unique in its own.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can do something on that.
Yeah, just about the baseball free agency in total. Is think of last year's free agency that there was literally no free agency.
Well, like think about
the whole thing took so long. Like Harper didn't sign till so late. Like no one was signing, and the winter meetings were so active this year. For the most part, like most of the big names are already signed. So I think that's pretty cool that we can kind of now have a better feel about what next season is going to be for the most part. And I know guys like Donaldson and some other big names are out there, but the Yankees landed the big guy. Rendon went to the Angels. I think the Nationals re-signing Strasburg. I think they're still going to be dangerous in the NL East. I think the Braves are still the best team in the division. The Phillies are once again all in this offseason, but like I don't know if it's going to pay off. Like, is Wheeler actually that good? Like, I feel like Wheeler's either going to be fantastic or not be healthy. And he also wasn't that good anyway.
I think Zach Wheeler's going to pitch like Zach Wheeler.
So, like,
average.
Just, and then be hurt.
Just be average.
Be fantastic some nights and then awful on other nights.
But over the course of the season, just straight average. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah,
not
and they signed Gregorius as well.
He'll get you by the season. That's Zach Wheeler.
I think the NL East is incredibly interesting, excluding the Marlins.
I think the NL East
obviously
is definitely the deepest. I think every team from the NL East has a chance of making the playoffs.
And that obviously is excluding the Marlins because they don't exist as a team.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it goes without saying.
That was a given.
Yeah. Sorry, that thing. Yeah. I guess to wrap up the show, as Cowboys and Eagles fans, as we're going into Week 16, the game that pretty much everyone has had marked on their calendar the entire season, like Kyle was saying in like Week 4, that like Week 16, like that's going to be the division, and it couldn't be more true that this is literally what the division is going to be. I'll start with my team. My team is horrendous. My team is trash.
Which is your team?
I'm a Cowboys fan.
All right, just
helping
the viewers.
Okay, the listeners,
future viewers. We're gonna take off. 2020 is your year.
My team's horrendous. I knew we were gonna beat the Rams because that makes this game just that more important and makes it like more horrendous when we lose because it makes this game mean a lot more.
Do you secretly want the Cowboys to lose so Jason Garrett is just immediately fired?
Well, you know me that I outwardly have been wanting them to lose.
You know, I'm just gonna say for the record, if the Cowboys lose this game, if I was Jerry Jones, I would fire Jason Garrett on the spot.
But he won't.
Even though the season could still theoretically be up for grabs,
he should have been fired. Should have been fired in 2012, 2013. He coached really well. Again, after he should have been fired, and then should have been fired 2017 and 2018.
I'm gonna say that although the Cowboys are trash, and you think that they're trash, the Eagles are just as big as a dumpster fire.
Rings.
Yeah, winning
get out of here.
Winning it 2 years ago is cool, but let's
you guys won it 2 years ago, and we were just falling on our face with Jason Garrett.
No. This season, this team is a dumpster fire.
I know.
This team is it. Okay, so the problems with the team is like everyone's hurt, but like every other football team also has guys who are also hurt. So injuries aren't an excuse.
I mean, if any team knows that injuries aren't an excuse, it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
No quarterback, no left tackle, no middle linebacker.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
Running backs were fucked. Everything was fucked that year. But it's the same this year. Like, Jordan Howard's gone. Sproles is gone. Deshaun Jackson played in one game. Alshon Jeffrey's gone. Aguilar can't catch the ball, and he's questionable. We have no receiver. Our best receiver is Greg Ward. It's Greg Ward. Greg Ward was the quarterback for NC State. Okay, Greg Ward.
And then who's the first round pick?
Oh, JJ. You know, I always thought it was JJ Arcea Whiteside, but everyone's been pronouncing it Arthea Whiteside. I thought it was Arcea. Or
cool.
I think there's an.
I'll remember that when he's out of the league.
Yeah,
in 2
he'll
years.
be out of the league in 2 years. One thing I will say though is that if I think the Cowboys, if the Cowboys have more potential on their team compared to the Eagles,
that's what makes us more pathetic.
I think if the Cowboys live up to their potential and play like the team on paper, you know, they clearly have it on paper. I think they'll beat the Eagles.
This game's at Philly though.
You know, it is at Philly.
What'd you say the line was? 2.5?
2.5 right now. As of on Wednesday, it's 2.5 Eagles.
God, I hate betting. I wouldn't even know what to do.
I wouldn't bet on that game.
Yeah.
You know, one game that does look good, I think this is the year that the Bills get it done and beat the Pats in New England.
No way.
I think that might be the year.
No way.
This might be the year. There's been so much turmoil. I think everyone's been saying about the Patriots that they were going to they were supposed to get it together towards the end of the year. And I don't think they've gotten it together yet.
I think it's hilarious that it went from, is this the best Patriots team ever?
Right.
To 6 weeks later, like, this team is horrible. Because we literally live in the moment so much.
Not horrible, just like, you know, obviously the Pats are going to win. But
the defense hasn't.
It's just a sexy looking pick, guys. Josh Allen's good. The Bills might
6.5, right? Like,
I think it was 6.5.
Like, would you bet the money line to win in New England? Like, that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, I would bet the money line. I think this is the year.
Hell no. But whoever end up winning the NFC East, even though they'll probably be 8-8, 9-7,
they're gonna win their playoff game.
Like, I feel like they could totally end up winning that playoff game.
Totally, could totally 100% see
like,
that
is Jimmy G gonna go on the road and then if, let's say it's Seattle,
you
Dallas,
think Kirk Cousins is gonna
Well, it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be Seattle.
Right,
it's gonna be Seattle or San
right,
Francisco.
right. Sorry, guys.
Like, is Jimmy G proving it? And then we just beat Seattle at home in the playoffs last year. The Cowboys did. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Could totally see that.
Yeah,
happening.
we'll talk about it next week when the game is over. And pretty much for the most part, the playoffs will be figured out. The Ravens can clinch the 1 seed, a lot of divisions.
Yeah, we'll talk about some seeding. We'll do a lot of football next week.
Yeah. It's definitely the football time of year. We didn't even get to touch on NBA because how much does December NBA basketball really mean?
Does anyone care about regular season basketball?
At this point, it's getting, and like, you know, I love basketball. Like,
I love basketball.
The past couple of years, the regular season has been.
You know, I'm all about watching sports at any given time. When I say does anyone care about regular season basketball, I mean just people at large. You know, people really don't care.
And even if you're into it, like
basketball.
if I'm watching the Celtics, it's like, we lost. Okay. It's like we're gonna make the playoffs.
Gonna make the playoffs.
Like, that's all that matters.
Just and even seeding is sort of a joke. It's just once you're in the playoffs, you got to win no matter who you play.
Yep.
So who cares? If you're 1 or you're 8, you got to win.
Yeah. So Kyle, thank you for coming. This was a lot easier just to talk to you because it's pretty much like
I honestly couldn't imagine what it would be like just trying to talk by yourself.
It's just picture like my opinions and just talking to myself is pretty much what it was. Like,
man.
My opinions.
Wow.
My opinions were raw. They were hot. They were
takes?
fresh. They weren't hot takes.
Okay.
It's in the intro, dude. No hot takes.
Hot take. No, okay. Yeah, hot takes.
But
no hot pockets.
Yeah, I don't really like hot pockets.
I haven't had a hot pocket in like 4 years. I think freshman year of college.
Last
time I had a hot pocket.
Des Bryant was on Twitter talking about how he loves hot pockets the other day. That's where his career has gone to.
I think Des Bryant would still have a career if he was off Twitter.
Or he didn't tear his Achilles. If you remember that whole thing.
That too.
So, Kyle, thanks for coming. If Kyle can continuously make it, this might be a new podcast with a potentially different name, but same Zach. And we'll see, because I think this has a good amount of potential. If there's one person listening out there, I love you. Thank you if you exist. If you don't, this same sports conversation that I'm having with Kyle, I would have had later in the night at my house anyway. It's not like we're wasting any time. Like, we're able to talk about sports anyway. So for everyone out there, thank you for listening. This was episode 2, and
Thanks, guys.
Join us next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Spittin' Facts with Zack. Follow Zack on Twitter at SpittinFacts40 and continue listening on Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts.